Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, I am the grandson of a Southern Baptist minister, so I'm into the whole call and response thing. If it's okay with you, I also feel compelled to give this thing a title, and I'll call it Random Musings on the Future of Learning. Is that okay? At a recent conference I attended, the question was asked on the big screen, which college degree, undergraduate, is worth $50,000 of debt when you leave school? Using their cell phones to chime in, the majority of the respondents skipped right past the degree choices and selected there isn't one. Between lack of affordability and inadequate preparation of graduates, people are beginning to question the relevance of a college degree in today's marketplace. More and more, what some refer to as career readiness or real-world pathways are starting to generate momentum. A bit of context, at the Ewing, Marion Kauffman Foundation, I lead our efforts in both education innovation and community ownership. And like in most metropolitan areas, there are pockets of innovation around college and career readiness in Kansas City region where I live. Inspiring programs that are boutique in nature are beginning to sprout up. And when I say boutique, I mean programs that serve 10 to 15% of the student population in a very robust manner. Apprenticeships, industry badges, certifications, dual credit programs. The question that I present to those of us working to design the future of learning is, how do we flip this ratio so that the innovation can be effectively scaled to serve the majority of students rather than the privileged few? This word, innovation, so often used in our sector, what does it mean? Usually when we hear this word, it references the development of new technology or new school model or talent framework, essentially attempts to optimize an age-old model of education, while sadly in many cases, not significantly changing the learner experience. As designers of the future of learning, we have to challenge ourselves to be more consumer-focused. Would we design a car and not value the voice of the end user during the course of our design process? Those of us who fly all over the country often comment on the increasing feeling that air travel is designed to maximize profit while devaluing the customer experience. Yet here we are in 2018, sitting in rooms with experts in design thinking, creating solutions around policy, enrollment, and school models, having engaged the end users of these products as little as humanly possible. Look, speaking of air travel, half of us are building a plane as we fly it anyway. Let's be honest. What if we lifted up the voices of communities we seek to serve and leveraged them to generate a user experience, a learner experience that is informed by students and parents, by teachers and school leaders, by high-income and modest-income families? At the Kauffman Foundation, we invest well over $1 million annually on community engagement activities designed to catalyze discussion around current education issues, the future of education, and creating inclusive economies. Through our Great Schools visits, we invite a cross-section of stakeholders from the community to join us as we visit some of the nation's best examples of high performance and innovation. We also invite state-level policymakers and leaders from business and industry to explore how to ensure that all students are prepared when they walk across the stage, diploma in hand, to either get a good job or create one. Finally, we are exploring a variety of ways to engage parents, students, and educators, working our way towards valuing the end user during the design process, learning together to ensure long-term sustainability of our investments. Now, we are a large foundation, which means we can be clumsy and are bound to make mistakes. Our goal, however, is to make new mistakes, not the same ones that have stymied the progress of education reform for decades now. We know better, So let's do better. Last question. What is it that we desire for our own children? Here's something I've observed over the past few years as terms like career readiness, industry certified pathways, CTE, etc., have taken center stage amongst reformers, funders, and policy influencers. Some of us are working to design the future of learning, are wrestling with the cognitive dissonance with regards to college. On one hand, the narrative that we are increasingly promoting is college is becoming less relevant, that we can equip students with apprenticeships and industry badges and credentials so that immediately upon graduating high school, a young adult can go out, make a living wage, and a good living for herself. But many of us are still preparing our kids for four-year university and encouraging them to forego the very opportunities that we are designing for other people's children. Do I believe that every student should go to college? Not necessarily. But I do believe that we should be careful about designing myriad pathways for high school students based on how well we did or did not prepare them during all of the years leading up to high school. All of the technological innovations don't and won't take the place of the need for students to be able to read, to count, to think critically. The urgency around building life readiness skills for students should not start when they are just a few steps away from entering the workforce. To be clear, this is not meant to be a critique on the design of career readiness models. Rather, a challenge to be more thoughtful, bold, more creative, and equally as important, more inclusive on how we design the future of learning. Our current system of education is behind the curve in preparing students for the current world we live in, let alone preparing students for a fourth industrial revolution. Since we can't predict all of the skills needed to succeed in tomorrow's workforce, our charge is to equip students with mental agility and a mindset towards a lifetime of continuous learning, retooling, and reorientation for the ever-adjusting world around them. And what does success look like? Being unable to distinguish or predict life outcomes based on a person's gender, race, or economic status. There is an old adage, you are what you measure, and you value what you're willing to pay for. Let's measure up to the promise we have made to improve academic and life outcomes for all students. And let's begin to invest in amplifying the voices of those who have the greatest stake in all of the work that we do. Amen? Amen. Amen. Thank you for your time.